Hi, Jerry Luker here, mobilehomesmakemoney.com. Hey, I'm asked a lot about buying mobile homes and mobile home parks. And people say, well, it's great. I'd like to go ahead and buy one and fix it up a little bit, flip it, resell it, make some money. But, I've approached parks or I've talked to parks and I go in and they say, oh, gee, you have to fill out an application and you pay a fee and do a background check or we don't like investors and we don't like people doing that, and so they leave discouraged. So I'm always asked, how do you do this? How do you buy homes in parks? Well, fortunately, a lot of parks, the owners and managers of the parks, they love people like us because they don't want to mess with houses at all. Some of the biggest park owners, they say, yeah, come on in, you take your time and money, fix up a house nice and sell it, that's great. They just want to rent the dirt, they don't want to fool with it. But there's other parks that are a little bit different ilk. But I tell people all the time that, you really don't have to apply and go through all the rigmarole to own a home in the park, okay? And they say, well, what do you mean? That's what I was told. And I says, well, you have to understand the difference. Okay, the application process when you go into a mobile home park, you fill out an application and they do the background check and they have a fee, and if you're young you can't buy one in a 55-year-old, plus senior park or whatever, and all of that is for occupancy, okay, because you're going to be leasing ground from them, you're going to be a tenant, you're going to be paying them rent for the space, and so they make you go through this just like you would be renting anything else. But that's for occupancy, so you apply to live there. And if you don't want to live there, if you're an investor, then that really doesn't have to apply if you approach it right. And so I just say that you do not have to apply to the park or be approved by the park to own a home in the park. Now, there's proof of this, okay? Let's take a home that's owned by a bank and the occupant. In other words, the people, they had a loan on the home to actually buy it. So on the title, the owner, the occupant, is the registered owner, the bank is the legal owner, they're both on the title, they both have ownership. Now what happens if that owner occupant, the registered owner, I wonder if he leaves, he just quits paying and everything? Well, the bank will, the loan will default, so the bank will repossess the home, they'll take it back. The bank now is the sole owner. And in no instance does the park, approach the bank and say, well, because you own the home, you have to apply and you have to pay a fee and you have to. No, I mean, the bank owns the home, and so what? So what I do a lot of the time is I will go ahead, and of course I understand the park, it's a good park. I know I can sell a home in there and when I pretty it up a little bit, so I will go ahead. And from a private individual or even from a bank or whatever, a lot of times I'll go ahead and buy a home in a park. I never even talk to the owners or the managers first. I just buy the house. Yeah, I buy it from the individual, I buy it from the bank, I just buy it. And then the park gets a letter from one of my companies that says, hey, there's a new lien holder. It's no longer XYZ Bank, it's now ABC Capital or whatever the business name is. And we're the new lien holder as a book of business on the park, and here's a check for the current rent or whatever it is. We're going to have our professional crews come in there and fix it up real nice inside and out, including the lot, and we'll send you the applicants that'll eventually own the property, etc. And that goes in the mail, and the park gets the letter, and they say, oh gee, there's a new owner, new lien holder on this property, here's a check for the rent. And what can they say at that point? I mean, you purchased the property, you're going to fix it up nice, going to get some people to live in there, and I've had one in, over a decade, about a dozen years now, I've had one park manager that got his nose a little twisted because I didn't check with them first. But the end result is they're getting a home that's going to be cleaned up and prettied up, including the lot, the whole thing, and some qualified applicants, pre-qualified, sent to them for the occupancy portion of it. So that's how I do a lot of it a lot of the time. And I'm saying, you check your own district and your laws and your attorneys and all that kind of stuff. But I do that all the time. I mean, I buy homes in parks all the time, and only the first one that I ever did, and ever since that, I've never filled out an application or anything or paid a fee or whatever to a park, ever. So anyway, that's just a hint, because I'm always asked, you know, how do you buy homes in parks? Sometimes they don't want to let you. Well, you know, it's really not up to them, even though they own the land. So that's just kind of a hint. So if this is really interesting to you, and the other things that we do in this business, it's very, very profitable. Hey, to stay tuned in. You know, you can always find us at mobilehomementor.com, and follow us in our blogs and whatever, and we'll be sharing more ideas with you. So later, Jerry Luker, over and out.